The police also said that this gang had been spreading like an octopus. The police also said that this gang has been spreading like an octopus and now has members throughout South Central Los Angeles, Inglewood, Gardena, Compton, Linwood, Lancaster, Palmdale, the Firestone unincorporated area in the San Fernando Valley. Gang members to identify themselves wear black gloves on their left hands and gold-colored earrings in their left ears, which are pierced, according to the police. They sometimes carry canes, which they use as weapons. Within a few years, much of the original Crip leadership were either imprisoned or dead. On February 23, 1973, Curtis Budum Morrow, a close friend of Tookie Williams and a high-ranking Crip enforcer, was shot to death in South Central following a petty argument. Mac Thomas was murdered under mysterious circumstances in the mid-1970s. In 1976, Raymond Washington paroled from prison and returned to Los Angeles. Reportedly, Raymond Washington was shocked to discover that the violent war between the Crips, Bloods, and the Hispanic gangs had escalated to the point that fighting was now using firearms as opposed to just fist fighting. Firearms was the new normal. Over the next few months, Raymond Washington became disillusioned with the Crips as the gang committed more violent and senseless crimes with new recruits seeking to build their reputations. Since Raymond Washington's imprisonment, the organization had totally broken down into loosely affiliated, decentralized sets that often fought each other as the Crips' original leadership had disappeared. Tookie Williams, the last remaining original Crips leader, served as the de facto leader during Washington's imprisonment. Tookie Williams had been injured in a drive-by shooting in 1976 and developed a growing addiction to PCP that caused his authority to wane until he was arrested for 4 counts of a homicide shortly before Raymond Washington was murdered. According to law enforcement, former gang members and close members, Raymond Washington had decided that the Crips needed to be brought back under one umbrella organization to stop the infighting and then work towards a truce with the Bloods. Upon realizing he no longer held influence in the gang, Raymond Washington started to distance himself from the Crips. So, wow. Raymond Washington's life is like the most fucking interesting life ever. He's the one that founded the Crips. He founded the Crips. He's going to die at 25. He's going to get shot and killed at 25. He founded the Crips. He was like this big tough dude. He was fighting against the gangs at first, and then he became the premier, the dominant gang. But 25, he's going to get shot and killed, so he's only, a Crip for a couple years, 5 years? And then, not only did he start the Crips, but because he had beat up 2 high school students, I don't know, Centennial High School or something, he beat up 2 high school students, and they went on to form the Bloods. So Raymond Washington can be said to have founded not just the Crips, but he also, in a way, founded the Bloods. He nation-built the Bloods. So Raymond Washington inspired or was the catalyst, we'll say. We're not going to give him the credit for the Bloods because they're the rivals, but he was the catalyst because he was such a hardcore Crip. Well, that created the Bloods. The hardcore Crip created the Bloods because he beat up 2 people that just had it, and they said, nope, we're going to form our own gang. So Raymond Washington founded both the Bloods and the Crips, and then he's going to die not being a Crip or a Blood. He's going to die not being either one of the 2 gangs that he essentially inspired or founded directly. In 1971, Raymond Washington approached Stanley Tookie Williams, a similar gang leader from South Central's West Side, who had used his reputation as a fist fighter to unite gangs under his control at Washington Preparatory High School, where both were attending. Washington had heard of Williams through a mutual friend who had informed Washington of Williams' toughness and his willingness to fight members of larger, more established street gangs, such as the L.A. Brims and the Chain Gang. Critics claim that although he renounced gangs and apologized for his role in co-founding the Crips, Tookie Williams continued to associate with Crips members. In prison, however, when contacted about Tookie Williams' alleged ongoing gang activity, Los Angeles' police department spokeswoman April Harding said that there was no evidence of his gang leadership. Opponents also pointed out that he received a significant amount of money from outside sources. They stated that people who appreciated Tookie Williams sent him money. It's as simple as that, said Barbara Becknell. Tookie Williams' spokeswoman. At around 10 p.m. on August 9th, 1979, puppy's having a nightmare. It's all right. It's going to be okay. Well, Raymond Washington at around 10 p.m. on August 9th, 1979. 25-year-old Raymond Washington was murdered in a drive-by shooting on the corner of East 64th Street and South San Pedro Street in South Central Los Angeles and was rushed to Morningside Hospital where he died while undergoing emergency surgery. No suspects have been arrested. And Raymond Washington's murder remains unsolved. It was reported that Raymond Washington was hanging out on the corner when a car pulled up and the unidentified occupants called him over to the car. Raymond Washington's associates, as well as the police, were aware that he would never walk up to cars of people that he did not know, and most likely knew the occupants of the vehicles, as he told an acquaintance that he knew them. Raymond Washington engaged in a brief conversation with them before the occupant in the passenger seat drew a sawed-off shotgun and shot him in the gastrointestinal tract and abdomen. Pulled out a sawed-off shotty and shot him in the gut. Shot him in the stomach, and that's eventually going to kill him. So the Bloods and Crips are notorious black gangs on the West. The Bloods and Crips, there's about 10,000 MS13. There's 20,000 Bloods. There's 30,000 Crips. It took George Washington 12,000 men to conquer the British Empire. So 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, compared to 330 million Americans, it's a drop in the bucket. So while they have pretty much small numbers, they loom large in the imaginations of America. And in some respects, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, what would be appealing to a life of crime? If you're a good American citizen, don't you have all these great institutions? If you're a good American and you don't commit crimes, don't you have all these great institutions that's going to help you with your social upward mobility? What else is there? Crips, Bloods, MS13. MS13 was actually founded in America. MS13's, their motto is rape, kill, control. I watched this one movie about the MS13, fucking harrowing. Scary movie. Not Lahane. What was it? Something else. Bloods, Crips, MS13.